This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English, episode number 249, baby. Oh yeah, nearly 250. And in fact, next week I have a super special episode for the big 250. A surprise, if you want to call it that. But like always, don't get too excited because it's nothing too special. But on to today's episode, I speak to Boom Boom Cannon about social media and whether it's a good thing or not. As I always say, we tackle the most important issues in the world on Rock and Roll English. Now, we cover a lot of topics such as SMS messages versus WhatsApp, profile pictures with other people or profile pictures alone, having your trousers down, and lots more. But one thing you need to know to understand one of the stories in this episode is, well, in the UK, there is a very popular program called EastEnders, okay, which I used to love. And I would like to say here that everyone used to love this program. In fact, I recently read that a semi-final of a European football match between Liverpool and Barcelona was delayed by 15 minutes because of EastEnders. Can you believe that? A professional football match having to start later because of a TV program. A very stupid TV program. Anyway, that's just to make you understand how popular it certainly was. Not so much anymore. But anyway, when I used to live with Boom Boom, we used to watch this program together. And there was a girl from the show that I used to quite like, let's say. Now, her name is Stacey. Stacey from EastEnders. And we talk about her in this episode. Although I just want to say to the actress, Stacey, if you are listening to this podcast, I am now happily married to a wonderful woman called Mrs. R&R, and she is someone I would not change for any woman in the world. So, Stacey, you have missed your opportunity. I can just imagine how disappointed she is hearing this. So in the episode, we also talk about Microsoft Paint. Do you know that program? And some of the artwork I used to create with this program when I worked at a bank, when I was supposed to be doing real work, but wasn't. So follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook to see this artwork, okay? Because I will share it in the next couple of days. But anyway, that's enough of me talking. Here is the conversation. Happy listening. Boom Boom Cannon, how are you today?
I'm good, Martin. How are you?
Always fantastic, Boom Boom. Always fantastic. Even more fantastic now I'm talking to Prince Charming. It seems to have stuck, that name, a little bit. I've seen a few people use it, very disappointingly, obviously.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's quite the nickname to live up to. But yeah, it hasn't really taken off around where I live, unfortunately. But
a shame, but two lovely phrasal verbs there immediately. So to live up to like meet the expectations, and it hasn't taken off. It hasn't become so popular in Sweden where Boom Boom lives, but there's still time, Boom Boom. There's still time, okay? So how do we usually start the show, Boom Boom?
With a review.
Do you think we have a review?
I normally say yes, but I'm going to say no this time.
And it's a good choice, Boom Boom. It's a good choice. Unfortunately, no. I swear we never have one when you're on. I swear. But so for the listeners, please, you can even write about Prince Charming if you want. Okay, as long as it's a 5-star review, I don't care what it says. Okay.
Well, I'm expecting some reviews of this episode because when you messaged me to suggest doing this one, your words I think were that you've got a blinding episode lined up. So I'm expecting big things. 5 stars.
So lovely vocabulary there as well, which I was going to say was from Boom Boom, but he essentially quoted a message from me. Yeah. So a blinding episode, like a fantastic episode, and lined up, like in place, let's say. But then my next message was, sorry for building that up because it's actually not that great, because I always do like to keep expectations low. So yeah, I did kind of make a mistake with that. So on to today's topic, which saying it now just seems like such an anticlimax. But I thought we could talk about social media, okay? Because obviously it hit the news recently, a few weeks ago, with Facebook, WhatsApp and everything going down. So I thought we could talk about it and see basically if the world is a better place with social media. Now, does this sound like a blinding episode, Boom Boom?
I don't know. I don't feel particularly blinded just yet. We'll see how things develop as the conversation goes. By
the end of this conversation, you will be blind, everyone, okay, because it's so great, okay. So on to the topic. So social media, so has it made the world a better place? I thought we could talk about some of the good things, okay. For example, contacting people, that's a good thing, no, Boom Boom?
Yeah, I guess so.
Depends who you're contacting, sure. But so, for example, when, what was it, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp were down, for example, how did you take that?
Yeah, I remember sending a couple of messages, but they didn't go through. And I remember kind of restarting my phone, thinking, what's going on here? Something's wrong with my phone. Turned out it wasn't. It was WhatsApp. But I was at the gym at the point, so I think I then just got back to pumping some iron and getting on with my life.
Good idea. Yeah, never take your sending messages whilst pumping iron. Boom Boom. Were you sending selfies of yourself at the gym?
Gym selfies.
Picking up like a 30-kilo weight to do bicep curls and sending some selfies, to Mrs. Boom Boom.
Top off in the mirror.
I've had the similar thing of thinking my phone was broken and very nearly called Vodafone, who I have my phone with, and honestly, and then I actually got an email from my mum telling me about it. But I was thinking, am I going to have to start using some of these SMS messages that whenever now I usually to Vodafone to ask about my phone, they always say, you got this new deal, like great offer, 2,003 SMS messages a month. And I always think, who the fuck uses SMS messages?
I actually, I have met someone here in Sweden, this new friend I've made that I mentioned to you recently.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah, Boom Boom. It is big news when Boom Boom makes a new friend. He had to ask for my permission. I said, sure, you can have a new friend, Boom Boom. It's okay.
He's a great guy.
Not as great as me, sure, but he's a great guy. Sure.
He's a doctor, so
I can't compete. Okay, I can't compete with that.
He's pretty dishy as well. So, not that you aren't, but he's a dishy doctor. He doesn't use WhatsApp, so we've been, and I haven't questioned him on this yet because I'm not sure our relationship's quite there. I've just been kind of going with it that we message using SMS. It feels very odd. Because,
very strange.
As you say, who does that?
Are you really sure you want to be friends with him?
I don't know.
I mean, he might be a doctor, but he sounds like an absolute idiot if he's using SMS messages.
It did make me question things. Like, he gave me his number after we met, and I sort of added it into WhatsApp because, it's what you do.
Sure.
See what comes up. And it was like user not found. And it sort of invites you to like send an invite to them.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm not going to do that because I don't really know the guy. So I just sent him an SMS. And that's what we do now. So
that is absolutely bonkers. Boom Boom. It's absolutely crazy. But speaking of other advantages as well about social media and connected to contacting people, a great way to get girls or boys if that's what you're interested in.
Sure. Also something you can do.
Find romantic relationships, let's say, to start romantic relationships. Again, open so many doors because asking for someone's phone number is a bit direct, isn't it? But if you're friends with them on Facebook, just send them a quick little message on Messenger. Oh, beautiful.
I mean, yeah, this has been a while since I've, I'm going to have to sort of reach back into the depths of my memories of how this all works. But yeah, I guess so. Yeah, adding on Facebook's quite a good way about it, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly, without being too direct. In fact, this is exactly what happened with me and Mrs. R&R, actually. She actually put a like on the Rock and Roll English page when I actually met her that night. And then I went home and then had to find her on the Rock and Roll English page. There were 2,000 likes or something like that.
All right.
Spent a long time looking. Well, kind of. But not so much when I was then studying all of the names of the 2,000 people trying to find her. It was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, which is a nice term. But found her in the end, located her after about 2 hours of looking.
Paid off, though. 2 hours well spent, yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. Paid off. So it worked. If you put in the work, boom, boom, the rewards are obvious, okay? So that's exactly what happened for me. And speaking of relationships, actually, not really connected to benefits or anything, but a big question I think about social media is obviously your profile picture. That is, you want a nice picture, etc. But what about a picture with someone else, boom, boom? What do you think of that? You and someone else, or just you?
I tend to go for just me.
Yeah, it's all about me, isn't it? Well, not me. Like, it's all about yourself.
Yeah, I think so. It can be a bit confusing otherwise. You think, which person even is this?
Absolutely. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like WhatsApp as well. Again, I mean, I've had the same WhatsApp one for years, and then Mrs. R&R actually said, "Why don't you put a picture of us?" And I felt under a bit of pressure, and I did change it to a picture of the two of us for a bit, but it just didn't feel right. Like I said, look, I know we're married, we've got a child, but I just don't think we're quite there in our relationship for me to put my WhatsApp picture of me and you. So I'm really sorry.
It's a step too far.
That's just a little bit too much, actually. I noticed you changed your WhatsApp picture recently. Again, you had yours for quite a few years.
That's why, I thought maybe this is where you were leading with this. Yeah, after I think pretty much 10 years actually. Yes, of the previous picture, I thought it's time for an update.
The great thing about you, Boom Boom, is 10 years, because you don't look any older. That picture was still doing a great job. It was a hilarious picture. Boom Boom drinking from like a cup, and the cup had like a moustache on it, so it looked like Boom Boom had a moustache.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Little joke about my inability to grow facial hair. Yeah, no, I thought 10 years is time for an update. But
sure. Every 10
years. That's actually probably when I will do the next one, because it took me a while to decide on what's new, and then I quite quickly actually got some messages in response to that of people mocking the new choice.
Yeah, it is a bit shit, your new one, actually. Boom Boom. There's a picture of you and I think like a cow behind you or something like that, or a horse.
I thought it was quirky.
Right, okay, so quirky, like strange in a good way, let's say.
Strange, like this guy, he likes the countryside, there's cows, what's going on here? It's interesting.
Yeah, I still preferred the moustache one, but sure, each to their own, so everyone can choose whatever they like. So another benefit of social media is keeping up with the news, okay? Now this definitely for me is a big one, because basically before social media I never watched the news or anything, read the front of the newspaper. I always read the back, which was the sport, or is the sport section. I remember going to school actually when like the UK entered into war with like Iraq, and people said like, we've entered into war, I can't believe it. And I was like, well, sorry, what? I was watching Premiership Years last night, which is a programme about Premiership football that I've watched about 1 million times. So I had no idea what was going on. So that definitely helps.
I'd say knowing whether a country's gone to war is a positive. But then so is, being fully across what happened in the Premier League in 1995. So it's sort of pros and cons.
You choose.
Yeah.
You choose. Although I just want to say at this point, I read recently there is nothing to say that watching the news makes you a better citizen or more intelligent or anything like that, and it actually makes people quite depressed. So I was just thinking of my mental health. Okay, Boom Boom. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, and Premier League years it cheered you up, because they were good years generally for you and United. And bloody hell, you loved that programme, didn't you, when we lived together?
The great thing about that programme is they play the music from the era as well. So you're not only watching the football, but you're also listening to 90s dance classics the whole time. And I mean, it's just brilliant. You could essentially watch that like in a nightclub, really, with the soundtrack.
You could watch it in a nightclub.
That would be the greatest night out ever, to watch that program in a nightclub. Like I said, the soundtrack is so good though. So another point about social media, again, not really a benefit or anything like that, just a newish kind of new, I suppose, feature are the stories. What do you think of the stories, Boom Boom? You know, they stay for like 24 hours. What do you think?
Yeah, preferable, I think, to like, if I'm going to post something, for example, on Instagram, which I do about once every 6 months. I do.
It takes him 10 years to change his profile picture, posting every 6 months.
I make you wait, but when I post...
Oh, God, yeah, it's amazing.
Bloody hell. It's worth the wait. But I prefer, I think, a story. It feels like just it's there, enjoy it, it's gone. I prefer that than thinking, right, this is sort of uploaded and going to be there
I agree.
for a long time, yeah.
It's more of an important thing now when you post something. It's kind of like, this is big. But the thing about stories for me is that I kind of always expect there's something to be something crazy, something like scandalous happening when I click this story, and 99.99% of the time it's just absolute rubbish. So if I click on your story, for example, I don't know, I'm just kind of hoping there's going to be a picture of you with your trousers down or something like that. But
I'd say that's unlikely, given I'm the one posting it.
You never know, though, Boom Boom. You never know. That's why I click on it. And then, for example, one story I remember you put up once.
Oh, here we go.
When you were in Sweden, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and it was still light.
Yeah, I thought that was good content.
I mean, it was, but it would have been better if you had had your trousers down in the picture. Lovely third conditional there, if anyone noticed. So for another example, an actress I follow who certainly in the past I was very fond of, let's say.
Stacey from EastEnders.
It is actually her as well. When she puts a story on, I kind of hope it's going to be at least a bikini story, and generally it's just pictures of her kids, and you kind of think, oh, for fuck's sake, I've clicked on your story to see you wearing not many clothes and just a picture of your kids. Anticlimax. It's more of an anticlimax than this for this episode of talking about social media.
Yeah, I guess it is. I was really still not expecting, even as much as I was expecting that to be Stacey from EastEnders. I kind of thought by now you might have moved on, so you've kind of thrown me by saying yes to that.
I'm loyal, Boom Boom. Okay, so a lovely term there as well. You've thrown me, like you've made me lose my chain of thought, let's say. But as I said, Boom Boom, I am loyal. So another problem with social media actually is like the notifications. For example, do you have them on? For example, for Instagram, if someone likes one of your pictures, do you have the notification on your phone that comes up?
I do, yes. But then the notifications I have it set for are things that happen relatively rarely, whereas I imagine with your, because you're obviously a bit of a social media kind of figure these days, so you would get a lot more, whereas if I'm limiting my notifications to, I don't know, being tagged or someone
or for the picture you post every 6 months.
Exactly, these notifications don't come through very often, so I leave them on.
So I switched them off, although it is dangerous. I always do worry that the Hellraiser has tagged me in a picture on Facebook that with my trousers down, and he actually has done that in the past. There is a picture he loves sharing of me with my trousers down.
Is that one on social media?
It's still on there, yeah. If you look at the Hellraiser's picture, I obviously removed the tag though, so you
sensible
can't see that on my profile.
Sensible.
But yeah, of course that's still on there. So it is a risk in that sense, but yeah, I had to. But yeah, the notifications reminds me of a story, Boom Boom, when you were working in an office. We had just left university and often exchanged stupid emails at work, and then Boom Boom actually called me to say, please don't email me for the next hour because someone's going to be at my desk and I don't want your email popping up because it pops up on the screen, doesn't it? And I can't tell you how tempted I was just to send an email with a subject line, capital letters, big tits. I didn't.
See, this thing, I knew I could trust you.
Yeah.
Not to. I mean, this was the point in our working lives and our jobs where emailing each other and sort of a group of people that did that we were in at the time was what we spent most of our day doing. So that was why it was absolutely necessary to actually send a warning signal to say, please don't do this for an hour, because otherwise guaranteed things would come through.
The thing though, like you said, of sending those emails, that's kind of what I dedicated my whole time to working at a bank I spent all my time doing that. So it is again a surprise that my career in banking didn't take off, because I was spending most of my time thinking about what hilarious emails I could send to my friends. But
well, your speciality at that point, as I recall, was drawing things in paint.
Yeah.
And emailing those. So that
took a long time to create those things in paint. But again, boom, as I said earlier, you put in the work, the rewards are obvious.
And also the thing, now that I think about it in hindsight, the thing with sending an email is that's quite a useful, fun thing to do, because to someone just glancing at your screen, that's an email, crack on. But putting up paint and like the graffiti tool and drawing like your mate and some cock and balls or whatever it was you were up to, that is quite noticeable to people in the office. But you obviously thought it was worth it.
You cannot put a price on comedy, boom. Okay, so I think my manager understood. Okay, if he said what's going on here, I just said to him, look, just sending a hilarious email to my friends. Okay,
just point at the screen.
Yeah,
speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Again, explains why my career in banking didn't take off. Okay, so we are actually going to have to stop and continue this boom in the family episode because we've run out of time. But just last one, big development of people being able to see the message that you have. Well, you can see if they have read it. What do we think, good or bad? I
would say bad. No need for it. That's why emails are better. I guess you do have read receipts, but generally you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like that sort of, they know I've seen it, so they know I'm just not responding. I don't like it.
I agree, definitely. But then again, sometimes when you send that important message, for example, when I sent Mrs. R&R that message asking her to go out for a drink, I checked that message literally every 5 seconds for about 2 hours. And then you see the little sign, she's read it. And I think, oh my God, she's read it now. What's going on now? She's taking time to think about it. She's taken a while. What's going to happen? Oh my God, God.
But so you're saying that's a good thing that you knew she'd read it?
I mean, probably actually not, but it kind of helps with the anxiety a bit to know that she's at least read it, because I think maybe in the past when I'd sent other girls messages and they just didn't respond, kind of thinking, well, she must have died. I suppose that's the only
probably
just good to know they're still alive,
probably dead,
really. For their safety is my main concern.
But now, even if it's been read, you can just say, well, okay, she's not responded. I guess her phone's been stolen. The person who's stolen it has read the message. That's what's happened here. There's always something you can tell yourself. Yeah.
So many possibilities. Okay, boom, boom. So I'm going to say it's been a good invention, social media. You?
Good invention. Blinding episode, not so sure, but it's been okay.
Well, if you start posting stories with your trousers down, boom, okay, then social media would be really actually something good, okay? We could have some blinding pictures to put on to go with this episode on social media, okay?
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Okay, great. Okay, well, thanks a lot for your time, Boom Boom, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, mate. See you soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Okay, so as I said, this conversation will continue in the family area where we talk about emojis, reading other people's conversations, and lots more. Now, on to the vocab from today. At the beginning, Boom Boom said the nickname of Prince Charming is a lot to live up to. So when you have something to live up to, you have to meet the expectations. We spoke about the name not taking off in Sweden, so it's not popular there. I also said I've got a blinding episode. So if something is blinding, it generally means very good. Oh, it was a blinding football match. It was absolutely brilliant. We also spoke about WhatsApp and Facebook going down. So when programs stop working, we say they go down. And messages going through. So when a message goes through, it reaches the other person, let's say. Boom Boom also used the very informal British term of talking about his doctor friend and said he's very dishy. Now, if someone is dishy, it's a way to say like an attractive man, let's say, in the UK. He also then said he's just been going with it, with this thing of sending SMS messages. So when you go with it, it's you just say, okay, that's fine. You don't say anything against it, like, why are we doing this? You just go with it. Go with the flow. When I then told Boom Boom I had 2,000 followers, he said I was a show-off. So when you show off, it's when you try to tell people how wonderful you are. We had the term finding a needle in a haystack as well. Just think about that. A needle lost in hay. That would be difficult to find. Like it's difficult to find someone who puts like on your Facebook page with 2,000 likes. We spoke about putting a picture of you and someone else on WhatsApp, maybe your wife, and said maybe that's a step too far, it's too much. And Boom Boom said many people have mocked his new WhatsApp image. So if you mock someone, you make fun of them. But he said he thought it was quirky. So if something is quirky, it's strange in a good way. To which I said, each to their own. Everyone is free to choose whatever they want to do. Other ones were it's worth the wait. That's a lovely term. You can just memorize that block. It's worth the wait. When Boom Boom said as well, knowing about if your country's gone to war is important, but so is being fully across what happened in the Premier League. So this to be across, to basically know, to understand. We had the term as well, you've thrown me. So when you throw someone, you kind of confuse them, let's say. And then Boom Boom lost his chain of thought. At the end, he also said, now in hindsight, so hindsight, a lovely term. So now you can look back at the past. So when you look back at the past and think, was that a good idea? You can say in hindsight. Now remember, all of this vocab will be on the website rockandrollenglish.com/episode 249. I will see you next week for the very special episode, but in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.